So guys, welcome back to the channel for a brand new video, and in today's one it is the Game Week 2 predictions for Sky Bet League 2. How do I think Game Week 2 is going to go? And of course we are getting a guest on. Like I said, last week, we're going to get a guest on every single week for these predictions. Last week, it was a member of the channel, Ethan. Today, we'll be getting Luke, one of my greatest mates, on to give his predictions ahead of Game Week 2, sorry. Make sure to smash a like on the video. As always, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Let me know your predictions down below. As always, keep them comments coming. The support on the channel recently in terms of liking and commenting subscribers has been ridiculous. Let's just keep that up. And yeah, let's get straight on with the video. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and let's get on with the video. So then, there are two 12:30 kickoffs on Saturday in League 2. The first one is Bromley against AFC Wimbledon. Now, Bromley have started life in the Football League very well, to be fair to them. You know, obviously they won their opening game away at Harrogate. You know, they were decent against Wimbledon, who they play this weekend in the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup. I do think I do think this weekend is going to be a tough game for both teams. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go Bromley 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. I like what Wimbledon are building, but Bromley, you know, have attacked this league how I think most teams from the National League should, unless you've got extreme, chance of going up. I think Bromley have, started well. You know, they don't look out of place from the first game. Obviously, a lot can happen. There's 45 more games to go. But I'm going to go Bromley 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
I'm back again for the new season on the Mike Green channel. It's Luke here. I was in a lot of vlogs last season at Rodney Parade with Mike. And I'm just happy to be back again. Get back to Rodney Parade, watching games, and hoping Newport can do something pretty special. So on to the predictions. The first one is Bromley against Wimbledon. Wimbledon beat them in the EFL Cup. So after Bromley obviously winning their first League 2 game, I can see Bromley taking this. I'm going to go Bromley 2, Wimbledon 0.
Then the second game is Carlisle versus Barrow. The Cumbrian derby between Carlisle and Barrow. Now, Carlisle come into this season with not a lot of expectation, actually, because of, how poorly last season was. Don't think Paul Simpson is the answer for Carlisle this season. And obviously, Barrow lost Pete Wild, but they've done ever so well despite his departure. Carlisle got absolutely thumped at Priestfield last week, 4-1 by Gillingham. Barrow picked up 3 big points last week, and I do think that Barrow are going to continue their winning run. I think Carlisle are going to lose for the 3rd game in a row. Obviously, they lost last night against Stoke, or at the time of recording last night against Stokes, of course. That was the Carabao Cup. I'm going to go Carlisle 1, Barrow 2. I think Barrow just are going to turn up at Carlisle and feel the tension that is behind the Carlisle fan base at the moment. I'm going to go Carlisle 1, Barrow 2.
So the next game is Carlisle against Barrow. So far this season, Carlisle have lost both of their games, one in the Cup, one in the league. And on the other side, Barrow have won both games. Barrow, if I can remember correctly, if my football knowledge is working, Barrow got really close to the playoffs last season. And obviously Carlisle getting relegated from League 1. I think this could be a really good game. I think Barrow could win it, but Carlisle are a good side. But they lost Christian Dennis. They lost Amari Patrick. I think I'm gonna go Carlisle 1, Barrow 1.
Third game then, and this is where the 3 o'clock games are on, and it's Accrington Stanley against Harrogate Town. Now, Accrington Stanley obviously lost last week to Doncaster. Harrogate lost to Bromley. Both teams are looking for them first League 2 points, and I think that the points are going to be, excuse me, I think the points are going to be shared between Accrington and Harrogate. I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw. I'm going to go for Accrington Stanley 1, Harrogate Town 1.
Next up, we've got Accrington Stanley against Harrogate Town. Harrogate Town lost their opening game to newly promoted Bromley. 4-1. to me, Harrogate shouldn't be in League Two. If there's any Harrogate fans, I do apologise, but Harrogate just aren't a League Two side. Accrington are more of a League One side. Harrogate belong in a National League to me, to be honest. I'm going to predict Accrington. I'm going to go Accrington 4, Harrogate 1. I think Harrogate are pretty useless, concede a lot of goals. So, yeah, Accrington 4, Harrogate 1.
So then, the battle between the teams that probably got the most money in this division, Bradford City taking on Salford City. Now, both teams are underwhelming in the last 4 seasons. Both teams should be challenging for the automatic promotion places, but, playoffs at best for both of them, which is, terrible considering, the quality that they have and stuff like that. And I think that, again, it's going to be probably a disappointing season for both of them, if I'm brutally honest. I don't think Bradford are automatically promoted. I don't think Salford will get anywhere near, mid-table, never mind the playoffs. I'm going to go Bradford City 2, Salford City 0 in this one. At the time at the time of recording, Salford have just signed, is it Tyrese Fornah from Derby on loan for the end of the season, but I think Bradford are going to have too much in this one. Bradford 2, Salford City 0.
Next up, we got Bradford City against Salford City. Two teams who usually do really well, but last season they were both really, really disappointing. They're the teams that you would expect to push for playoffs, but last season that just didn't happen. Salford are a good side. They got some really good players. Bradford are the same. As much as I don't like either side, they have got some good players. Bradford, their number 9, Andy Cook, he scores 20 plus goals a season, every season. And he absolutely embarrassed us last season. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game, this one. But I'm going to go Bradford 2, Salford 2.
Now then, a game in this one where I feel as though the home team, despite probably they were the underdogs 2-3 weeks ago, are probably now the favourites. Colchester United versus MK Dons. Obviously, MK Dons lost 2-1 to Bradford on the opening day. They got thumped in midweek by Watford 5-0. Colchester obviously knocked out Reading. Colchester, and again, we know what happened at Wimbledon last week. Colchester are a funny one. I still am picking them as a potential dark horse this season, and I'm going to go for them to pick up another set of 3 points. Their first set of 3 points, but they were unlucky last week. I'm going to go Colchester United 1, MK Dons 0. I just don't see where MK Dons can quickly get this form. I said they could win the league, but they looked shaky last week. They looked atrocious in midweek, according to my friend Luco, who's an MK Dons fan. But yeah, Colchester 1, MK Dons 0.
Colchester United against MK Dons, franchise FC. It's hard to predict with MK Dons because they are a good side, but they seem to drop points against teams that they shouldn't be dropping points to. But look at Colchester, they're looking very, very good. I think Colchester could definitely upset a few this season, and I think they can beat the MK Dons quite easily. I think they will brush them away. MK Dons, they have got good players, but they play in a fucking half full stadium every game they play, and I know it's an away game for MK Dons, and I don't think Colchester really fill up their ground either. But I think that Solar Stadium suit MK Dons. But I'm gonna say Colchester 2, MK Dons 1.
This one is an interesting one at Gresty Road, or whatever it's called now for sponsorship purposes. I think it's the Mornflake Stadium. Crewe Alexandra against Chesterfield. Now, Crewe obviously lost last week to Barrow. Chesterfield got a good draw against Swindon on the opening day. And I've gone for another draw for the Spirites in this one. I think that it's going to end Crewe Alexandra 2, Chesterfield 2. I don't think Crewe will be anywhere near mid-table. I think they could be playoff chasing, just a couple of places out from the playoffs, I think. And I think they will get their first points on the board at home. I'm going to go Crewe Alexandra 2, Chesterfield 2.
Crewe Alexandra against Chesterfield. Chesterfield back into the EFL. They drew with Swindon on the opening day, which is a good result for them because Swindon are a good side. They are building. They are a team that could push for playoffs if they really wanted it. The same as a lot of teams in this league. I think Crewe are going to be too strong for Chesterfield. And Chesterfield have got some good players. You know, Will Grigg, Paddy Madden. That's a ridiculous strike partnership for a League Two side. But I think Crewe are going to take this quite easily. I'm going to go Crewe 3. Crewe 3, Chesterfield 1.
Just over halfway of Game Week 2 predictions, and I'm going to go in this one between Grimsby and Cheltenham Town. Obviously, we know what happened for Cheltenham. They beat Newport 3-2 in Game Week 1. A very, very late 96th minute winner from Cheltenham, Joel Colwell, who scored 2 that day. To obviously get all 3 points for Cheltenham against us. And Grimsby, they lost to Fleetwood. Fleetwood looked like a team, by the way. Fleetwood looked like a decent team this year. After watching them for the first couple of games, obviously we'll talk about them later on in the video. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory for Cheltenham. I think they're going to go back-to-back 3 points in League 2. I just don't really see what Grimsby can really offer in much threat to Cheltenham. I'm going to go 2-1 to the Robins.
Grimsby Town against Cheltenham Town. Grimsby are a hit or miss team, really. They go down for a couple of good games and then they'll get a battering. Cheltenham, well, we saw what they did to us on the opening day. 2-0 up. We get 2 goals and then we go and lose the last kick of the game. A Cardiff City striker on loan scoring. That's just the way it is, isn't it? But I think Cheltenham are going to be pretty good this season. I think Cheltenham are going to take this one quite easily. I'm going to go Grimsby 0, Cheltenham Town 2.
Morecambe against Gillingham. Now, Morecambe obviously lost last week against Walsall at the Bestcott Stadium. Gillingham battered Carlisle 4-1 at home, and I do think that Gillingham are a really good side. I know Carlisle have got their issues, so beating them wasn't really much of a hardship, but I'm going to go for another big scoreline for the Gills. I'm going to go Morecambe 1, Gillingham 3. I just really like the look at Gillingham at the moment. I think they're a really solid team. Just like I really think that Colchester look good. I think that Bromley have looked good so far as well. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-1 away victory for Gillingham. I see the quality in that Gillingham side, and I just don't really see what Morecambe can offer. A, to defend against that quality, and B, to cause Gillingham much threat themselves.
So the next game, we've got Morecambe against Gillingham. Gillingham looked pretty good last season at times. And Gillingham are a team that seem to be on the up. They seem to be building. Morecambe, they have money problems that every season. Took them a long time to get their players registered. I don't think their players have had enough time to get to know each other. One of them being former Newport player Adam Lewis, who I was kind of hoping we would sign really on a free transfer from Liverpool, but he went up to Morecambe instead. It's fair enough. But Gillingham, they won their opening game 4-1, a very, very good win against Carlisle, I believe. And I think Gillingham are going to take this very, very easily. I'm going to go... I think Gillingham are going to take this 3-0.
Well. Newport County against Doncaster Rovers. What's our season been so far? Abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. You know, the game against Leyton Orient, 4-1 defeat. The manner in which we lost that game, the manner in which we lost the Cheltenham game in the last minute. However, you know, this is Newport v Doncaster. Doncaster won their first game 4-1 against Accrington Stanley. The only thing that gives me a bit of hope is the fact that Accrington are so poor. And I do think that if there is a team that Doncaster could beat 4-5-0 or 4-1 on that occasion, is Accrington or probably Morecambe. So I am going to put my neck on the line. I'm going to go with a home win. I'm going to go 1-0. I never want to back against my team, and I'm going to go for Newport 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. Delusion, maybe. Expectation, maybe. But yeah, I'm going to go Newport 1, Doncaster Rovers 0.
The next one, the one that all Newport fans would have been waiting for, Newport County, our first home game at Rodney Parade this season. against Doncaster Rovers. We had this as our first home game last season. We won 4-0. Will Evans scored a few in that, but obviously now he's not here. We need to get scoring goals without him. We've got Courtney Baker-Richardson, we've got Ollie Greaves, who both were on the score sheet last week. We had James Clark on the score sheet against Leyton Orient in the Cup, which we got embarrassed in. But I think we'll take this. Doncaster are a good side, don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of respect for Doncaster. You know, last season they were down the bottom pretty much all season, and they won, 10 games in a row or something. They got results in 10 games, and they got to the playoffs and then they lost. But I can't see us losing our first home game with a new manager. I'm going to go Newport 3, Doncaster 1. Hat-trick from Courtney Baker-Richardson. You heard it here first. Come on, Port.
Port Vale then against Tranmere Rovers. Now, Port Vale, another team that really impressed me from match day 1. Yes, it was Salford who underwhelming at the very least in this division, and they won that one 2-0. Tranmere played a boring 0-0 draw against Notts County. And I think that Port Vale again are going to get another set of 3 points. They haven't conceded a goal yet in the league, and I do think that they're going to match on in the league again with another set of 3 points and another clean sheet. I've gone Port Vale 2, Tranmere 0. I just look at Tranmere defensively and think that, you know, defensively they're quite sound, but you know, they've got too many attackers that can score goals, and none of them are scoring goals, which, you know, is quite odd. But I'm going to go Port Vale 2, Tranmere Rovers 0.
Next up, we got Port Vale against Tranmere Rovers. Tranmere bringing in some very decent players, Cameron Norman being one of them, who us Newport fans and any MK Dons out there, MK Don fans out there that watch this channel, Luca AFC, I know you'll know a lot about Cameron Norman. A very, very good player, consistent, played 100 games for us in 2 seasons. I think he's a good signing for Tranmere. They've got Declan Drysdale, who I don't think was the best for us, but he is only 23 or 24, so you got plenty of time to improve and get more game time if he don't get injured. Amari Patrick, who we know is a good finisher. I think Tranmere would take this quite easily, to be honest. I'm going to go, I think Tranmere win this 2-1.
Penultimate game of Game Week 2, and it is the last game of Saturday, and it is Swindon taking on Walsall. As we mentioned, Walsall beat Morecambe last week. Swindon obviously drew 1-1 with Chesterfield on the opening night, and I didn't really see what Swindon could possibly do at their full limit on Friday night, because it was the first game, it was cagey. They were decent against Crawley, I think it was 4-2, they lost 1-0. I'm not too sure on this one. I'm going to edge Swindon 1-0, only because it's at home. It's the first game at home for them in the new season, and I just think that, you know, the quality that they do have, and, you know, if it goes right from this season, they could push a playoff place. But yeah, I'm going to go Swindon 1, Walsall 0. I like Walsall a lot. Again, I like a few of their players. Albert Adoma, despite his age, is still a very, very good footballer. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I've gone 1-0 Swindon, but it could go either way, that one.
Swindon Town against Walsall. Another Michael Flynn derby, as you could say. I think Walsall are a good side. They got some key players. Swindon are the same. At home, Swindon as well. I'd fancy Swindon to take this quite easily. Walsall are a hit or miss team. Like, they're good, but they can be very, very awful at times. And I think Swindon are just going to blow them away. Swindon 3, Walsall 0.
And then the last game of the match day, the last game of the game week, is Notts County taking on Fleetwood Town. This one on Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff, I believe. And I think this one is going to be a really good game. I can see why this is, you know, on Sunday. I presume it's on Sky Sports Plus or whatever. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense that it's not on Saturday. But in terms of my prediction, I think this is going to be a cagey game, but I think there's going to be goals in it. I just look at both teams. Notts County drew 0-0 with Tranmere on the opening day. Fleetwood beat Grimsby, who again ain't very good, so you can't really take much of a feeling from that. But Fleetwood did knock out West Bromwich Albion in the Carabao Cup. However, all being said, I know I've just bigged up Fleetwood in this video, but I'm gonna go Notts County 2, Fleetwood Town 1. I just look at Notts County, and I just think they're going to get it right at some point. Whenever that is, I'm not too sure. They were very unconvincing last week. I just think they're going to get the job 2-1 in this one.
And last but not least, Fleetwood Town against Notts County. We know how good Notts County are. We saw it last season. David McGoldrick, Jody Jones, Macaulay Langstaff. He's obviously not there anymore. Gone to Millwall. Boo. But I think Notts County will win this fairly comfortable. A lot of the game is going to be from Josie Jones. We know he's creative. We know he's brilliant. And I think he'll have a hand in pretty much every single one of these goals. I'm going to go Notts County 4, Fleetwood 0.
So, a massive shout out to Luke for sending his predictions in for Game Week 2. We will try and get a guest sorted for Game Week 3. Obviously, I'll be sorting that out now, basically, because this video is done. Please make sure to smash a like on the video, subscribe, and comment your predictions for Game Week 2 down below. Remember, always subscribe, always show your support for the channel. Really do appreciate it, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Hopefully, County get the 3 points in Game Week 2. I'll speak to you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and do you know what? Up the County.